Okay, welcome back. This is sort of a surprise episode for episode 4. I did decide to go ahead and cover the fall of Haven. And the reason for that is because I got some new recording software. I switched programs in order to facilitate a better live stream. And I wanted to play with the software. Um, and I was trying to reduce the number of times I said So this video has been edited and cut together, and even I put in these little notes and whatnot, and it's just a section of the story where you basically switch locations from your base at Haven to Skyhold. Gosh, saying so many times because this is unscripted. And I didn't really want to script this because it's sort of like a behind the grind, because it's not behind the scenes. This footage isn't going to go into another video to my knowledge, but it's sort of explaining how my character will be at the point she is when she fights the Hinterland's dragon on Friday, which is tomorrow. And that's a live stream. And so I'm basically going to start the stream with her at the camp right outside where you fight the dragon, and then we'll just fight her live and see if we can beat her. I do have some more work to do to that end. I don't know if I'm gonna get it all in. I gotta make some money. I need to buy a schematic uh, so that I can, have a more powerful weapon against the dragon. I have already, of course, this footage is showing me fight against Corypheus and establish Skyhold and officially become the Inquisitor. So in my actual playthrough, I'm a little bit past this, but I haven't actually gone on to the next major phase of the game. The dragons are they're not part of the story plot. Like, I don't think you have to defeat. We have to defeat a couple of dragons for the story, but most of the other dragons are just bonus missions in the game where there's a bunch of rewards for doing so, and they're exploration rewards. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in and searching for the dragons, and you'll get a chance to see a lot of that. Early on in the game, though, you really kind of are focused on putting all your characters together and getting ready for like the middle of the good meat of the story. Uh, this part of Inquisition can take hours if you want to take your time and go through each mission meticulously. But you'll find that you can get to this point pretty quickly. It doesn't take long to get to level 10. And at level 10, you should be able to handle all of this with relative ease. Uh, I'm playing on normal difficulty, and I haven't died. So even though you're seeing mostly cutscenes, in none of the footage you're seeing do we fail. Like, we're working pretty fast. And so none of the boss battles so far have been overwhelmingly challenging. And I'll cop to it if I die or something kills me. But like, there might be some dragon fights that because we're gonna stream it live, I may have to like give it a couple tries. So, but I don't anticipate that, except for, well, okay, I want to do one dragon per stream. However, there is a section where there's a bunch of dragons in one place. However, those dragons aren't necessarily on top of one another, so there's no risk of fighting one dragon and then not being able to end the stream and say see you next week. And even within the story, I can go off and do something else for the week, make progress someplace else, and then come back for the live stream and take out that dragon. Uh, Of the three dragons there, the third dragon can be a bit of a bear. It's like a tougher version of the hinterlands dragon, and I find that dragon to be particularly difficult as opposed to a lot of the other dragons that, while like not pushovers, especially if you were playing on hard, there you can defeat them, especially fighting with ranged weapons. While you can make a warrior who is damn near invincible, and okay, you won't see it here in the video, but I have footage from a little farther in her career, and I definitely have footage of finding some key components to crafting armor and weapons. And so by the time she fights the first dragon, she should be one, a prestige class artificer. Now, I'm not sure how many points she'll actually have in it. We'll see. But I will have probably gotten about two or three more levels. And because I don't love respecking, I'll probably respec once at the time she becomes prestige, just so I can. Oh, I want to. Okay, so I left myself some notes already. Okay, so in this cutscene, in this whole entire sequence, when you play it, it really feels like Varric is supposed to be there no matter what. And it may have been a situation where at one point he was, so you could either he was either locked in to the sequence or he ran around independently like Liliana does. If you go back to the first video, you'll see that Liliana is actually out there fighting that boss with you, but she's not a member of your party. However, you can protect her with a spell and you can revive her if she gets knocked down. I feel like because of that sequence, at one point, Varric was involved in this fight no matter what. And I'm wondering why they changed their minds, because that cutscene is super weird if you don't bring Varric with you. This is secret. Oh, okay. So right now we're saving the people of Haven, the bench people. Like, so you're where you buy goods, where you get your research, all those people, like the people you help build all your stuff. So you saw me blow open the couple doors to get Sigrid and Haggard out, and then now I'm rescuing Adon and the lady who takes care of all your information. So when you turn in like interesting things, she gives you experience for it. Maeve, I think is her name, and then this is your quartermaster. And okay, this is the weird thing: you can fail to save them. In this sequence, I managed to save them. I don't have a perfect order of operation where every single time. The real trick is saving Adon and Maeve. Typically, you can only get one or the other. That fire is so cheap. But this time around, I got them all. And it's not necessarily luck. I mean, if you really focus, you can get it done, but you can't lollygag. It's weird, but also they all get replaced. So when you get to Skyhold, even if you save them or not, none of them keep their jobs. So there's a new barkeep, there's a new knowledge table person, there's a new quartermaster, and on and on and on to cover their bases in case you don't save Felissa in the bar. And I think, I don't know, like I think Felissa should still be in the bar, and that other character, I just miss out on them or something. Or I don't know. It's kind of weird.
If only trebuchets remained an option.
They are. If we turn the last of them to the mountains above us.
We're overrun. To hit the enemy, we
Are
barely
you
make it.
looking at a
This
shark?
is not survival.
Oh, you know.
The only choice left is how spitefully we end this.
Well, that's not acceptable. I didn't race here only to have you drop rocks on my head.
Should we submit? Let him kill us?
Dying is typically a last resort, not first. For a Templar, think like a blood mage.
There is a path. You wouldn't know it was there unless you'd made the summer pilgrimage, as I have. The people can escape. She must have shown me. Andraste must have shown me so I could tell you.
If that thing is here for me, I'll make him fight for it.
And when the mountain falls, what about you?
Perhaps you can surprise the Elder One.
Inquisition! Follow Chancellor Roderick through the chantry. Move!
Herald, if you are meant for this, the Inquisition is meant for this.
This is one of my favorite sequences in the game. Got stuck watching. Pardon me. Oh, here we go. No, that's not. I'm looking for something that's coming up soon in the video.
Keep the Elder One
And
still
now,
until we're above the tree line. If we are to have a chance,
because I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Is that what's happening here?
thing hear you.
We will exact a heavy price. They will not take us easily.
It's like, let's go. Let's go. No matter how many times I've done this, you come out of that door and it's like the ending of Young Guns right there. It's ridiculous. Okay. It might be where it is. Okay.
Move! Now!
I will include this dragon fight. It's actually like the final fight of the game, I guess, sort of like it's the boss fight of the game. And yeah, like, okay, I need to make something abundantly clear. I love guessing and speculating, but I don't want to be right because that kind of spoils it. And I keep thinking about this game from the perspective of the player on the table. You know, like I'm that's me right there facing that dragon, you know. And I have to remember there's a difference between player knowledge and character knowledge. And from what my character knows is, you know, how I'm supposed to be interpreting what's happening around me because I'm existing from her perspective. And I say that because, like, I think that sometimes we kind of critique this game from the position of the observer or the viewer as though you were like watching a show or a movie. And so the organization might seem a little off because, you know, you're like watching it from the couch. But it's not off because you're not supposed to be watching it as a casual observer. You're supposed to be experiencing it as the, you know, essentially the main character who isn't privy to everything going on around them. And so, yeah, some things are a little confusing. And yeah, some things aren't obvious because from that person's perspective, they just wouldn't be. And there's something about the way everything is set up from the very beginning and this conversation and things that happen at the end of the game that lead me to believe there's a good chance that the actual core canon character could be a Canary. And I don't know if that's true. I'm probably wrong. There are a whole bunch of cool YouTubers who are really good at like going through all the information and coming up with really good theories and stuff. I honestly, more often than not, don't really want to know because I like, you know, the experience of being surprised. So like, I'm not going to offer much in the way of speculation. I just I'm not, and I don't look at certain things because I don't want to know the larger picture. Not really. It's more fun to guess for the excitement of it all, but I don't really want it spoiled. I believe that it's been established that the original hero of Ferelden was an elven warden, was an elf. Like maybe the city elf storyline was the canon. I'm not sure. Um, but the problem with, well, I mean, oh, that's okay. Yeah, the young boy could be half elf, and you see a half elf in Dragon Age 2, and he can technically almost pass for human, so it wouldn't be like he would look like a little elf boy. So yeah, I mean, and then like we absolutely know that Hawk is a human for sure. So why wouldn't it be kind of cool if the Inquisitor was Canary, and then maybe just maybe Rook is a dwarf? So did the dragon like bite him? Because it just looked like they put a wing over so that we couldn't see what was happening. But I don't know if he has hands like that. It probably does. Okay, yeah. Okay, we weren't going to do. There's a section of the game where you're basically slogging through the snow, and there is no point to it. If I thought that there was some kind of hidden bear cave where you could find the secret armor of truth, that would be one thing. But you can't. You just slowly walk through the snow and then you pass out. And like, why do they make me do that? It just didn't. Oh, I hate it so much. So I wasn't gonna have you watch that crap either. But this is what I was getting to earlier. Like, this seems like it's kind of coming out of nowhere. But remember, all we know is everything that she knows. And she is always out across the land whooping ass on the account of the Inquisition. She is never in there having those meetings. I think that there is something that kind of got lost in the shuffle because I honestly believe the multiplayer was supposed to function a lot more like the multiplayer in Andromeda. So I think you were supposed to be able to access the multiplayer from within the game, and you were going to be required to have had to gotten the Skyhold for that to work. Because before that, in Haven, you're not the Inquisitor. You don't run the show. They don't include you in all the information and all the discussions. When you walk into the war room table, they're actually telling you where to go and what to do. And now here, they're starting to fall apart because they need a leader. And little known, beknownst to you, they've been talking about you being the leader. And so in a minute, they're going to, have Solus is going to lead you guys back to his old house, and you're going to become the Inquisitor. And then from that moment on, I think you were supposed to be able to then command the war table as though you were these guys. So then when you do the multiplayer from within Skyhold, it kind of makes sense because the multiplayer characters are sitting in Skyhold, like hanging out, waiting to go on missions. So I think it was all supposed to come together where you would go to the war table and pick and choose missions and then play them as the multiplayer characters with other players across the the world or whatever. But that did not happen. I'm not sure exactly why. I know that the multiplayer and Andromeda was what it was, and I don't know how many people got involved. But if I'm not mistaken, it did kind of remove you from the game to another sort of server, but you could like go back to your game where you were on your ship. It was kind of weird how they did it because you still had to like sort of leave the game you were playing. However, in Inquisition, there was no way to do that from within the game. You had to like actually go out to the main menu and then go to multiplayer, and it was a huge disconnect in terms of that sort of narrative consistency. I think they at one point it feels like it. At one point, the idea was for you to access the multiplayer from Skyhold. It just I don't know, when you play the game and you realize that you're supposed to be a bit more powerful in terms of your status, but that's not really reflected in the game's interface. I think it's because that piece was missing. The reflection of you being the Inquisitor was supposed to be, I think, the multiplayer. But maybe it didn't have any it didn't I think there may be some other issues where it didn't make a ton of sense, and like once they stopped supporting the multiplayer, like what were you going to do then from inside your game whenever you went to play it? There'd be like this weird missing piece because I mean i think I think I can load up multiplayer missions but nobody's playing is what it is because the missions still like or I think I can. Yeah, I'll just be out there by myself and eventually get killed because it gets more and more difficult or whatever. But no one's going to join me. I don't think. I just don't think anyone's playing. Which the multiplayer was kind of weird, and it was why it told you why live service wasn't going to work out because the multiplayer just didn't have enough content to sustain anyone looking for something to do. You have a game with hours and hours and hours of individual play content, and then you have this multiplayer, which is like the same four maps ad infinitum. Like that's not going to work out for you. No one's going to want to do that, and no one's going to want to quit their single player campaign to play this repetitive thing that goes nowhere. Yeah, I honestly think that they were trying at one point to do one thing and pivoted to something else, and then it just kind of hurt everything. But you still get Skyhold, and you still get to make your improvements and kind of see it develop and evolve. But there's just parts of the game that you feel like there were some initial ideas and then things changed and they didn't go back and address all the things they needed to address when they made those changes. Like right now, he's holding the staff of Tears of Bright Axe, which you have to like unlock all these locations in the hinterlands to open it up on your war table. And then, as you're going to see me point out in a second, it takes 24 hours to unlock that staff. I'm pretty sure. Well, okay. I don't know for sure. From my experience, that after you're done after you're done doing all that, you then basically it's time to become the Herald of Andraste. I'm coming back later after a long break. I had to do some editing to the audio, so this is like 8 hours after I started this recording or so. Um, Trying to get caught up on what I was talking about and trying to get all this stuff put out because this time tomorrow I will have already fought the Hinterland Dragon. So since the last time I updated this with some audio commentary, I can tell you that
but this threat is far beyond the war we anticipate. But we now know what allowed you to stand against Corypheus. What drew him to
I
you.
have
Care why he's after me.
like totally become
Mad.
an
You should
artificer.
care because he sees in you what we all see, and it has
Ah,
nothing
I
to
was
do
losing
with
my
our
volume
personal
for the video. I was like, what's going on with the volume here? I'm
Determination grows out
fully
of hatred.
prestiged out.
You are the
I
creature who
haven't
rises
respec
because of
yet.
what you
I
did,
just
and
got
we know
the
it, all of us.
the mission completed.
The Inquisition
So
of Valhalla,
now
the one
tomorrow I'm going to try and run for armor and items to buff up my characters. But I should be ready to go for the dragon tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Don't know what to say.
Say that you will not make me regret this.
If you're not sure, why do it?
Because I believe this is what was meant to be. That without you, there would be no Inquisition. What it means for the future, how you lead us, that is entirely up to you.
You know, they don't waste any time. You kind of get right to this. I think earlier in the video I was talking about why I think that is.
I will lead us
Um,
against Corypheus, and I will be an ambassador. I'm a
I
Kunar
think this is a
descendant of
wise
Veilguard.
choice.
The Inquisition is for all.
Wherever you lead us. Have our people been told?
They have. And soon the world.
You should pay close attention to my character's hands. She seems to have a problem holding swords.
Will you fight? Will we triumph? Your leader, your herald.
See, she is not holding that sword right. You see, I always thought that right there, they were looking over to their left at maybe the champion of Kirkwall, but others think that it's just a limitation of the graphics. And Cullen was just noticing how rambunctious um, the oh gosh, I forgot her name that fast. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought for years and years and years that they were looking at the champion of Kirkwall standing not too far off. Josephine, that's her name. Her name is Josephine. Jesus. I'm just really trying to get through this. I'm so tired. I was falling asleep at the wheel just to grind out her prestige abilities. And I just want to finish this video and actually
We can't have a repeat of
post
what
it.
happened at Haven.
I'm gonna post it in a minute as well. So once I add on this little bit of audio towards the end,
We do have
I have
we know what Corypheus
a little
was.
desire to do scripted videos.
When you were at Therenfall,
I'm thinking about just really having fun live streaming with a buddy of mine. This Dragon Age stuff is just because I can, but it's just fun stuff. But yeah, I just want to finish it. You know, I want to capture all the dragons on video in a playlist for, you know, the fact that it's there. So I'm really hoping to be able to keep up with this and finish the entire project. I'm off to an okay start, but we'll see how well it goes tomorrow. I'm not too worried about numbers, but I figure if I'm quick, the live stream won't be so long that I can't just archive it with the playlist for these behind the grind videos. I have footage of everything after this. No, I don't. I have footage of some of the stuff after this. I'm pretty sure I have footage of her meeting the champion at Kirkwall and so on and so forth, but I'm probably not going to use it. Later, gang. See you next time.